Oh boy, it is starting to come down here in Maine. So you know what that means. I guess it's time for a glove review. Hey y'all, it's the Skew 2000. I'm here inside now where it's nice and toasty, and I thought I would give you kind of a review of these new Giver 4-season gloves that I picked up just last week. I should note that I do have another review on the original Giver 4-season glove, so if you want to check that out, it's on my channel. But Giver actually partnered with the online kind of outdoorsy retailer Huckberry to introduce these kind of exclusive color. So it's this nice walnut brown rather than the traditional yellow that they normally come in. Really, other than that, they're the same glove, same 4-season glove that you can get from their website. And I guess they're now selling them in REI and everything like that. So what I would do is just give you kind of a brief overview of the gloves themselves. But I also want to talk about a couple of criticisms that I have. And I shouldn't say criticism, that's kind of a harsh word. Things that I would like to see updated, I guess, if there were ever future iterations of the Giver 4-season glove. I do love Giver gloves. I think I have every iteration ranging from the EDC, which is their regular leather glove, their classic glove, which is fleece lined, and then the 4-season, which is their waterproof, multifunctional glove. And I like these ones too because the leather gloves or the yellow gloves, I think they look great, but I get more comments of what am I, a gardener or something like that, and kind of weird things like that. And so I like that they introduced this different color leather for it. So anyway, kind of with the overview, as with the original 4-season glove, you get a nice leather outer. If you buy the original glove, you have options. So you have an option of a waterproof coating, beeswax coating, and you can also get your initials branded on here. With the Huckberry exclusives, you still get the waterproofing, so the beeswax coating on it, but they don't do the custom leather burning of your initials in there, which is fine. So you get the added layer of waterproofness, waterproofability, I don't know the appropriate term. Each of the 4 seasons comes with 40 grams of thin slit insulation. So they are nice and toasty. I would say they're better suited for fall, spring, and winter. In summer, they would probably be pretty warm. But I'm sure there are some applications like on cool summer nights and things like that. But regardless, so they are pretty warm, and all of them have, again, a waterproof membrane. So even if you don't have the beeswax coating, these are still 100% waterproof. And because they're leather, you can do things like grabbing burning logs or dry ice like they do in their promotional videos. The beeswax coating really just adds an extra layer of waterproofness. And it allows the water to shed off the glove, so it'll help protect the leather a little bit longer. You can do that yourself, or you can opt to have it done to the gloves professionally. All the 4 seasons have this nice little leather pull tab, which makes it really great. So when you want to put it on, you just grab the pull tab and you can just kind of slip your hand in there. Everything works great. In general, they really are fantastic gloves. I love the original pair that I have. I still use them to this day. I like this pair because they're a little bit more fashionable. And all in all, they're just great gloves all around. Now, in terms of criticisms, and again, I shouldn't say this is really a criticism. This is one thing to watch out for when you buy a 4-season glove of either type. When you first get them, you really need to break them in. I noticed that they started including warnings telling you about that. Because when you first put your hand in there, they're going to be really, really tight. The insulation hasn't really filled out or moved to where it needs to be yet, so it's going to feel a little bit awkward. And the worst thing can happen when you go to take them off, if you grab the fingers, if you grab just the leather and not the internal membrane and the insulation, you can end up pulling all that stuff out. And when it comes out of the backside of the glove, it's impossible to get it back in. You could try working it for hours, and it's just nearly impossible. I, in fact, had to send a pair back to Giver to have them replace them because I had that happen. And again, I noticed that with this pair, they started including a warning to tell you about that, tell you about the break-in period, and be cautious when you're taking your hand out. But once you use it, 3 or 4 times, everything kind of gets settled and nice, and they work just fine. So that's just the word of caution. Now, one thing that I was kind of hoping is that, with the introduction of kind of an exclusive color and whatever else, that maybe we'd see kind of an update to the Giver line. And one thing that I do, and this is a little bit nerdy, but I'm a big bird watcher. So I need to go out. I like to look at birds. I wear gloves all the time, especially in the winter. And one thing that I do is I record all of my stuff on an app, right? And so that requires you pulling out your phone, logging information, and then you putting your phone back and down. And these gloves do not have touchscreen sensitivity, right? So you can't access the touchscreen on it. So the problem that I found is that I'm just constantly taking my glove on and off, on and off, on and off. Not that that's really going to do too much damage, but I'm sure over time, that would wear on the glove quite a bit, especially around the cuff, on the elastic part. And so I recently completed a survey for Giver about things that we would like to see from the company in the future, and I actually mentioned that. And they reached out back to me. So they sent me an email back and said that it's a really great idea. The only issue that we have is that since there is that waterproof membrane, you wouldn't want to have anything like piercing the leather itself, or the waterproof membrane itself, because you'd lose that structural integrity, and thus the gloves wouldn't be waterproof, which makes sense. However, I still think that there's a way that you could have a filament, go to the outside of the glove down here, or go just beyond the membrane itself and come back through, and you could still get that touchscreen capability. But again, I'm not an engineer, so that's something that would require a lot of work and planning, I'm sure. And the next thing that I would like to see, as a potential upgrade to the Giver 4-season line, instead of using thin-slit insulation, which is great, it works out just fine, I would like to see these in down, right? So down is much, much loftier, it's warmer. You might even completely eliminate, maybe they can call it the Giver 3-season glove. But I think that would be a really cool insulation material for them to use. And certainly because these are not cheap gloves, I think these were $114 for the pair. That's certainly in the price range of what you might see some down gloves at. Again, there may be a problem. I know down feathers have a lot of filaments, and those filaments can actually poke membranes, and they come out of pillows all the time. I would imagine that a waterproof membrane wouldn't be impervious to that. But I still think that there would probably be a way to have that as an insulation material. So regardless, even though these are just basic standard 4-season gloves, just in a cool color, they are fantastic. I would encourage anybody to check out the Giver lineup. They have hats, they have shirts, lots of gloves. They're a fantastic company. They're really easy to work with. I've contacted them a couple times. They've been nothing but professional and kind. But regardless, of my criticisms or critiques or future ideas, these are fantastic gloves. So I would check them out. You can check these ones out specifically on huckberry.com. I do know that Giver sells now in REI, and they have a really impressive lineup. So give them a try, and let me know how you think.